Parker. Welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Well, this is our third in the series of scrap and punch cards, and this is no exception to our rule. We are using only scrap paper other than our blank that we're using for the base, but everything else is scrap paper. And I've used backs of paper. That was something I was going to tell you about. Like, if you have paper that you don't really like the look of, or you can't figure out what to do with it, you can always flip it over and go to the white side and do something with it. So this is the card that I made earlier, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit like this. This is thank you for touching my life in the inside, and thank you on the outside. So let's talk about what we're going to be using as far as products. First of all, I have a big dog underneath me, so I'm trying to work around her. We're going to be using the stamp set, another thank you from Stampin' Up. I'm sure this is a retired set. You know I like to buy retired sets because you can usually buy them at a pretty steep discount. And then I'm using this flower punch that's from Stampin' Up. It's a little flower. I just bought this from Martha Stewart. It's a really, you know I'm not crazy about Martha Stewart's punch, but this punch really punches well. I love this punch. I think it's called Cherry Blossoms, but I might be wrong. I don't think it tells you anywhere on them either. And then the very last punch that I used was this Martha Stewart leaf punch. So those are the punches we're using. Of course, you know I put everything in the comments, as always. I punched these out earlier because I didn't want you to have to watch me do that, and I also put brads in them because I figured that would save us all some time and energy in this portion of the project. In this card, I stamped the background with Peach Parfait ink from Stampin' Up, and this is my favorite, the Versafine black, Onyx black, that I've recanted into the Distress ink. Anyway, the other ink I'm using is Real Red by Stampin' Up, and I really like this red. It's kind of it's not, well, it's all over my hand. That's the color it is. Now you know. And I'm using on the inside, this time, you're simply the best. But I'm doing the same thank you on the outside. And this is a stamp that doesn't say anything on it, and I don't remember where I got it. It might have been from Alicia. If it was, thanks Alicia. You're simply the best. I think what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to do the same background, but this time with Real Red. And I've got a little scrap piece of paper here that we can do it on. I figured that it would be easy to show you this portion of it, and you'd be able to kind of get the idea. You want to turn your stamp when you're doing anything where you're doing a repetitive pattern. You always want to turn your stamp so it doesn't look like you've just stamp in a row. So you want to turn it as you go. So now we're done with our design on the front, and of course, like in all things, I forgot that I have to stamp the big thank you on that. No problem though, because since we're using black ink, if you didn't know, this is what I did with my Onyx black. Jennifer S. commented and told me this is what I should do, is take my reinker and put it in here, and I love that. I think it's the greatest thing ever because I really hate that container. And then I'm using my Rock-a-Block. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a stamp that's, or a acrylic block that's really made to be able to handle your bigger sentiments or your bigger designs, and it makes it so that you put the paper, you put it down, and when you do that, you just rock the image. And there it is. So there's our image. It looks okay, but I think I'm going to take a marker and just add a little bit. For some reason it didn't, all the black didn't show up. So if you ever have that happen, all you have to do is find a marker that matches, and you just kind of do this. And you just fill it in with your marker. And there you have it. So those are the only spots I think that needed anything. Okay, Then on the inside, we might as well put our image. Also, I think I'm going to put this down because I want to make sure I don't forget to do it. The last time I did one of these, I forgot to put this thing in, so that was a big waste of making it, wasn't it? So I think what I'm going to do is use wet glue on this, and I think I'm just going to use my Tombow Mono Aqua on it, and I'm going to put it on that same scrap piece of paper, and then we'll get rid of it when we're done. I'm going to cut off the ends of this. Okay, you take your clips and then you're just going to clip the edges on so that they stay while we're doing other things. I just like to do this just to make sure that everything kind of stays glued down, especially the parts that have the brads on them. And the brads I used are a cornucopia of brads. Some of them are from Stampin' Up, some of them were from Michael's, some of them were just random ones that I just found. So there's no particular rhyme or reason to these, which is great, because then if you have anything like that, then you won't feel bad using yours and saying, oh geez, Sandy used this other kind. Just use whatever you have, it'll be fine. I'm going to just dot this a little bit and try to get a little bit of my glue up. Then on the front, what we're going to do is we're going to just start laying down our flowers. And what I did with the other card is anywhere I thought I had what I'll call an area that I didn't like, or in other words a big boo-boo, I would just put a flower right there. So it didn't really matter if I had anything stamped improperly or not stamped the way I wanted it to, because all I did was just cover it up. When you're putting down these many embellishments on it, you don't really have to worry about any of it because it takes care of itself. And I tried to put them in threes. Odd numbers are supposed to be more appealing to the eye, so I tried to make sure that every one of them that I laid down, this one, oh, this is when I used some this kind of tape on, this weird tape that I don't know what it's called. And I had a devil of a time taking the top layer off of it, so I'm just going to rip some of the layer off and put some on a few of these, and then that way it'll be done. Then what I did was I have a bunch of well, I'll call them random looking designs. I didn't want my patterns to be similar, so I went through all of my papers, and I found this paper, and I'll show it to you in just a second after I cut off a piece of this weird tape. I found this really fun. It was paper that I had put Martha Stewart's stucco effects on, and I couldn't find anything to use it for at the time, and so I had the piece of paper, and you know it was scrap then, so I just made it into something I could use. I just cut it up, put it into my scrap and punch cards. And then I didn't have enough of one kind of pattern, so I made my own pattern up by just stamping on the back of one. So I thought that was kind of cool too. On the outside, because you want some of your flowers to be, or your whatever you put on there, you want them to go over the edge a little bit, and the reason for that is it heightens the interest in the card, I guess is what we'll say. So we're just going to snap off those, and then everything else looks good except for that one right there. Okay. So that's all of those. We're going to put our sentiment in the inside, and I thought I would stick some of these leaves underneath inside as well, so that we have a little bit of more interest in the inside as well. These are cool. I bought these at Michael's, and they're these little, I'm opening them backwards because I'm not with my game today. They're these little embellishments that have glitter on the front, or on the dome of them, and they came in white and black and silver and gold, and I thought they were really cool at the time. And as in all things, you forget about them. You think to yourself, wonder what's in that container, which is what I did with this, and found them and decided to use them on this project. So, and our sentiment says, "You're simply the best." I'm using up quite a few scraps doing this. I'm having a fun time figuring out new and different cards to make with them. So here's our card. It's a thank you card. Oh, man, do I have a lot of ink on me today. Jeez, oh man. So here is our here are our two cards. There's the white one that I did earlier, and I didn't know if you noticed this, but I did punch two of these out so that the inside shows through the front. And then here's our orange one, and of course I have to stamp the back of that one. I think I stamped the back of this one. Nope, I didn't. I made this for you. So that's our project. It's our third in our series. I hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to check the video out that's right before this one of the 500th subscriber and the giveaways that we're going to be doing. You have to put your comment on that video by the 23rd at 5 p.m. in order to be in the running for the prizes. So I hope you'll do that. I hope you'll subscribe. Please give it a thumbs up. There's the thumb. It's a little red. And let your friends know about me on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, any social media you use. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.